In the year 1220, a city of 500,000 people ceased to exist in a single week. No survivors, no mercy, no record left behind, except the ash. The man who ordered it wasn't born a conqueror. He was born a nobody, abandoned, hunted, starving in the Mongolian steppe with nothing but a bow and a grudge against the entire world. By the time he died, he controlled more land than any human being in history. 12 million square miles, a quarter of the known world, silent under one name, bigger than the empire of Alexander the Great, bigger than Rome at its peak, bigger than anything the ancient world had ever produced, built in one lifetime, by one man, starting from absolutely nothing. That name was Genghis Khan. This is the history experiment. And this is the story of how an orphan boy became the architect of the largest empire the earth has ever seen, and why the world still hasn't recovered. Mongolia, 1162. A boy is born clutching a blood clot in his fist. The shamans call an omen. His father names him Temujin, after an enemy he just defeated in battle. It should have been a good start. It wasn't. When Temujin is 9, his father is poisoned by rival tribesmen. Just like that, the family loses everything. No protection, no status, no food. The tribe abandons them, left to die on the open steppe. A mother and her children, alone against Mongolia's brutal winters. Temujin doesn't die. He adapts. He hunts marmots to survive. He learns every rock and river of the land that betrayed him. And when his own half-brother threatens the family's fragile peace, Temujin does something almost no one expects. He kills him. His mother is horrified, but the message is clear. Temujin will do whatever it takes to survive. Nothing is off the table. Not mercy. Not family. Nothing. At 16, he's captured by a rival clan and dragged into captivity. A wooden yoke locked around his neck. He escapes, alone at night, to enemy territory with nothing but instinct. The boy who should have died in the snow just walked out of prison camp built to break him. Around this time, he marries a young woman named Borte, a marriage arranged years earlier by his father. It's meant to seal an alliance. Instead, it nearly cost him everything. Raiders from a rival tribe kidnap Borte in a revenge attack, and Temujin is forced to call in every favor, every alliance. Every debt he is just to get her back. He succeeds. But the lesson sinks in deep. In this world, weakness invites destruction. Alliances aren't loyalty, they're leverage. And the only real security comes from power nobody can challenge. Temujin starts over. He gathers allies the old-fashioned way, loyalty earned, not inherited. This is where he breaks the rules of the steppe completely. For centuries, Mongol tribes had organized around blood. Your clan, your bloodline, your birthright. Temujin throws that out. He builds his army around skill and loyalty instead. A shepherd's son can command 1,000 men if he's earned it. An enemy soldier can become a general if he switches sides and proves himself. This single decision changes everything. Talented men who would have been ignored under the old system now flock to him. His army becomes a machine built on merit, not bloodline. Something almost unheard of in the 12th century anywhere on Earth. He crushes rival tribe after rival tribe. The Tatars, the Khwarezm, the Nayman. One by one, the fractured clans of Mongolia are absorbed, defeated, or annihilated. By 1206, there's no one left to fight. Every tribe on the steppe bows to a single leader. At a massive gathering called a Kurultai, the clans proclaim him ruler of all Mongols. He takes a new name, Genghis Khan, universal ruler. He is 44 years old, and he has just unified a people who had spent centuries slaughtering each other. But unification was never the goal. It was just the beginning. Genghis Khan doesn't lead an army. He builds a machine. Every Mongol male is a soldier by default, trained on horseback since childhood. His forces move faster than any army in the medieval world. 60 miles a day, sometimes more, sleeping and eating in the saddle. His composite bows can kill a man at 200 yards. His riders can loose an arrow at a full gallop with lethal accuracy, a skill European knights simply cannot match. But speed and archery aren't what made him unstoppable. Intelligence was. Genghis Khan runs the most advanced spy network of the medieval age. Before an army even reaches its target, he already knows the city's defenses, its politics, its weaknesses. Merchants, traders, and defectors feed him information for years before a single arrow is fired. And when a city refuses to surrender, he doesn't just defeat it. He makes an example of it. Cities that resist are burned to the ground. Populations are slaughtered in the tens of thousands, sometimes used as human shields in the next siege. Word spreads faster than his armies do. Fear becomes a weapon. Entire kingdoms surrender before the Mongols even arrive, because everyone has heard what happens to the ones who don't. His army is also, for its time, remarkably disciplined. Soldiers who abandon a comrade in battle face execution. Units are organized in a strict decimal system. Groups of 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. Each layer accountable to the one above it. There is no aristocracy protecting incompetent commanders. Fail, and you're replaced, regardless of birth. It's this combination, brutal punishment for resistance, total organization within the ranks, and intelligence gathered years in advance, that turns a horse-mounted steppe army into the most efficient military machine the medieval world has ever encountered. In 1218, Genghis Khan sends a trade caravan into Khwarezmian Empire, a wealthy Islamic state stretching across modern-day Iran, Uzbekistan, and Afghanistan. The governor of Otrar accuses the merchants of being spies. He executes them all. Genghis Khan sends ambassadors demanding justice. The Khwarezmian Shah executes them too. He shaves the heads of survivors and sends them back as a warning. It is the worst mistake in the history of the region. Genghis Khan turns the full weight of the Mongol war machine on Khwarezm. City after city falls. Otrar, Bokhara, Samarkand, Urgench, some of the wealthiest, most advanced cities on earth, home to scholars, poets, and centuries of accumulated knowledge. In Bokhara, Genghis Khan rides into the city's grand mosque and tells a terrified population something that survives in a historical record to this day. He tells them he is the punishment of God. Entire populations are executed. Irrigation systems that took centuries to build are destroyed, turning fertile land into permanent desert. Some historians estimate the invasion killed several million people across the region, a death toll so severe that parts of Central Asia never fully recovered. Within 2 years, the Khwarezmian Empire, one of the most powerful states in the Islamic world, simply stops existing. Here's the part most people don't expect. Genghis Khan wasn't just a destroyer. He was, in his own brutal way, a builder. Under Mongol rule, the Silk Road becomes safer than it had been in centuries. Merchants travel from China to Europe under Mongol protection, a period historians later called the Pax Mongolica, the Mongol Peace. He establishes one of the first international postal relay systems in history, letting messages cross thousands of miles in days instead of months. He grants religious tolerance across his empire. Buddhists, Muslims, Christians, and shamanists all live under Mongol law without persecution, a policy almost unheard of in the 13th century. He creates a written legal code, the Yasa, applying the same laws to nobles and commoners alike. But make no mistake, this order was built on top of the largest pile of corpses the medieval world had ever seen. Historians estimate the Mongol conquest killed somewhere between 20 and 40 million people. Some estimates place it as a percentage of the entire global population at the time, comparable to the death toll of World War II. Order and annihilation, both true, both Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan also understood something most conquerors of his era never grasped, that skilled people were more valuable alive than dead. Engineers, astronomers, physicians, and craftsmen captured during conquest were often spared and relocated across the empire, spreading technology and ideas from China to the Middle East to Europe. Gunpowder, printing techniques, and advanced siege engineering all move along Mongol trade routes during this period, reshaping warfare and science on 3 continents at once. In 1227, during a campaign against the Western Xia in China, Genghis Khan dies. The exact cause is still debated. A fall from his horse, an illness, an old injury reopened. No one knows for certain. What happens next is stranger than the death itself. His men are ordered to keep it secret until the campaign ends. to prevent a collapse of morale. The funeral procession reportedly kills anyone it encounters along the route, travelers, villagers, animals, so word cannot spread ahead of them. His body is buried in an unmarked location, believed to be near his birthplace in Mongolia. According to legend, a river was diverted over the grave, or 1,000 horses trampled the site into the landscape, erasing any trace. To this day, despite modern satellite surveys and archaeological expeditions, the tomb of Genghis Khan has never been found. The most powerful man in the history of the world simply vanished. Genghis Khan's descendants would go on to rule China, Persia, and Russia for generations. His grandson Kublai Khan would found the Yuan dynasty. His bloodline is so extensive that a genetic study once suggested roughly 1 in every 200 men alive today carries his direct Y chromosome lineage. Think about that. An orphan boy left to starve on the steppe became, quite literally, an ancestor to millions. He unified a fractured people. He built the largest contiguous land empire in human history. He also orchestrated some of the deadliest campaigns of mass killing the world had ever witnessed. Builder and butcher, both at once. That's the story historians are still trying to fully reconcile, and probably always will be. If this story left you speechless, that's exactly what the history experiment is built for. Subscribe, because the next chapter of history is always darker than you expect. And tell me in the comments, builder or butcher. I want to know what you think.